In today's video, we're working just on the interior of the House of Tropics and building for one of the coolest species in Planet Zoo, the platypus. We have a very intricate and detailed designed area, including a curtain that separates two different rooms of the House of Tropics, as well as the tanking enclosure itself for the platypus. So, without any more talking, let's get right into it, and let's get to the speed build. Alright, so today we are back, like I said, with the House of Tropics, episode 5, I believe. Getting excited, we're getting to the big numbers now. I'm hoping you guys have been enjoying the series so far. So far, the response to the series has been taken quite well, so I'm hoping we can keep this going probably for the rest of the year, honestly. I was hoping this series would be like a shorter series, but honestly, I don't care as long as you guys are enjoying it, and I don't care if we can keep building onto it. I think it would be fun. And I'm definitely up to it. So, in today's video, with that being said, we are on to episode 5, and we are building actually strictly on the interior space of the house. And we're going to be doing this a couple times, maybe not back to back, but we're going to be building an enclosure just on the inside of the House of Tropics and not any outdoor viewing or anything like that. We're going to be building an enclosure for the platypus, and I figured that these guys wouldn't really need an outdoor enclosure because I know that a lot of zoos house like smaller animals like otters or maybe beavers or things like that, really small animals just on the inside, even if they're semi-aquatic animals, so I figured the platypus would definitely fit that description, and I figured we had a cute small little space here on our way to the pygmy hippos, so I figured we could fit it in. So yeah, how this works so far with the House of Tropics is you would enter at the main entrance, you see the cloud leopards, and then you keep going, you see the otters, and those are actually the first 2 episodes of the series, if you want to check those out or if you missed those. And then after that, now you will go further into a hallway, and you can either choose to go left or right. And left will bring you to this area, which is the platypus, and then it'll eventually lead you into the pygmy hippo. I kind of did that backwards. I probably should have done the platypus first, and then the hippos, but I just kind of wanted to do the hippos first just to get my motivation back and sparking, so I did those first, and then we connected them after. Wasn't a problem in the end, just probably more of a continuality kind of thing to not mess it up or whatever, to not mess with the flow of the project, but it all works out in the end. So, we've got our platypus here, so I don't know how much I actually recorded in while building this. I know this actually, as much as the size of this enclosure is really small, it actually took a while to actually build compared to the rest of the enclosures. I know it's obviously not as big as the rest of the enclosures like the hippos or the clouded leopards, but because of I had a lack of motivation recently. I went on a trip in July for about 2 weeks, and then when I came back, I was just kind of lacking motivation, so I really had I had struggles making the pygmy hippo habitat first off, and then after that, I made the platypus enclosure. So yeah, but I eventually did figure this out. I had to watch a lot of, I took a lot of inspiration, if you might notice, if you follow another creator on YouTube, Caesar Creates, you might notice that this enclosure looks incredibly similar to his reptile house builds right now, currently going on, I think. I love the style of those enclosures that he uses. I like the nice modern windows that peek into these intricate caves and stuff. They're very similar, and it's very how you would see it in a real zoo. So I honestly could not think of my own idea. I'm like, okay, I really like this, but how can I make it different from my own? And I really couldn't, I tried as hard as I could to make it real, different, trying to do it, but every time I did something and I didn't like it, and then I redid it, and then it's oh wait, that just looks the same as his. So I kind of gave in at the end, and I just said, okay, you know what, if it looks similar, it's probably fine. It does look good. I mean, come on, his builds do look good for a reason. They're incredibly realistic, and he is one of my things of inspiration, so I definitely wanted to base a lot of this build off of that. And it ended up looking really similar, which I honestly can't really complain with, and I'm not really upset by, because it does look really good, and I think it fits the platypus nicely. It's a small, little, compact, and cute little enclosure. I think mainly for this, the window wasn't too hard to build. I think the main thing, actually, surprisingly to me, was the thing that took the longest was making the foliage and plants in the actual enclosure, because I don't really have a lot of experience with making really small enclosures like this, so I didn't know how to I was trying to use stalagmite walls to cover out the back of the enclosure first off, and then I also wanted to work in a lot of plants in the top layer and then in the bottom, and then it kind of just all felt messy. So in the end, I redid all of it. I got rid of the foliage and rocks. I've moved the walls back to give me a bit more space, because believe it or not, in the cinematic shots, if you look at it at the enclosure at the end, it was actually a lot smaller than that. It was about like 2/3 of the size of it now. The water part was still the same, but the actual land space in the enclosure was about like half of probably what it is like in the final product. So I ended up moving the walls a bit back. I also gave it a skylight because the one thing I really don't like about building like in indoor enclosures is the lighting, which is so irritating because the lighting is really confusing to me because I put in so many lights everywhere in the house, and it's still, some areas are really dark and other areas are really light, and it's like we have like the same amount of light. Like I put the same amount of lights in them in both areas, so they should be the same like lighted, but they're not. So if you look at like the pygmy hippo enclosure, it's a bit more lighted and you have a lot more like shine, you can see a lot more. But then when you look into the platypus enclosure, it's a bit harder to see. And I tried as hard as I could to add as many lights as I can to, like, especially to the ceiling of the enclosure. I took like the skylight that I used in the pygmy hippo enclosure, reused that, made it like I put two of them together to make a giant strip of light across the ceiling. I also added a bunch of spotlights, almost like stage lights kind of, hanging from the ceiling. I didn't focus too much on lights in the actual guest area because I figured I would come back to it at the end, because almost all of the house almost all of the guest viewing areas of the house don't really have proper lighting situation. So I figured I would just come back to it at the end and we'll do like a finishing touch-ups video where we'll go through the entire house, we'll add lighting, we'll add whatever we need, donation boxes probably, ATMs, whatever like that. So I kind of just left it at that, but I didn't want the actual enclosure to be left unlit because obviously you can't see anything. So I tried my best. It ended up turning out pretty good in the end. It's decently lit. I just wish it was a bit more, like you could see a bit more, especially in the back. But overall, it's okay. I'm really hoping for like a Planet Zoo 2 or something, or maybe even a free update coming up. We get something like where we can move the sun. I know that you can change like the time of day, and that will move the sun. But it's not like an actual choose the sun to be over here, choose the sun to be over there. The sun is on a repeated loop that it will be in like a different angle of the sky, but it doesn't actually, you can't actually move the sun wherever you want, which I don't know exactly how they would tackle that in a Planet Zoo 2, but it would just be something I would really like to see because it would definitely help, especially at least cinematic shots when I'm taking this, because they are quite dark in the cinematic shots, which is why I was kind of holding myself back from building this one because I knew it wouldn't really like be as flashy as some of my other builds. But overall, putting the light aside, I think it turned out pretty good. I like the detail, especially the plants and rocks. I don't know how much I actually did because I redid this enclosure twice, or not twice. Well, I built it and then I rebuilt it again. And I also spent a lot of trial and errors and stuff with like the guest section, especially also the curtain. The curtain was annoying to build. I don't even know if I got that in the footage. I started out with doing like doors and making my own doors, and then I also started doing like, I know a lot of zoos use like chains or like kind of like plastic flaps kind of, basically what the walkthrough exhibit like entrance things are, where you can have like the ventilation strips. So I tried making my own of those. Obviously the original ones were too big, so I tried making a smaller version of those, but it didn't really turn out good. So I eventually used the fabric pieces, I believe from the base game, I think they are, and made kind of like a strip curtain, or I guess a curtain. So that turned out finally good, but that took a while. But yeah, overall it turned out pretty good. So yeah, because I redid this enclosure and a bunch of different elements of it, I don't know exactly how much I got with footage and stuff. I think I did get most of the foliage work, and also for the first time ever, I actually made my own education prop kind of thing. Right now I've been actually with a couple of the enclosures, I used the education table that was from the Steam Workshop, I believe, from Caesar Creates. Or I don't think it was an education table originally. I think it was like a restaurant table, but I just turned it into like a kid's table for kids to learn about the animals and stuff like that. But I actually made my own education prop, which I'm very proud of myself for. I tried to make a like modern kind of style round table and put a couple of stools at it, putting in like a nest and stuff to really show like platypus and like how they are one of the few mammals that can lay eggs. Felt that was a kind of cool little area, and I did have an extra space there, so I figured, you know what, I got some free time. Let's add an education prop or an education stand there, because why not? So there you go. I think that's pretty much all I have to say about the enclosure. I know this is a bit shorter than my regular voiceovers. This is also probably one of the shorter episodes because I didn't have a lot of footage to go over in this one, because I redid it so many times. Anyway, I hope you all enjoy. That's really all I have to say about the enclosure. There's probably a few more minutes of speed build, and then we'll switch over to cinematic shots. I'm not sure what the next thing we're going to be building in this series. We could go back to like continue on this hallway towards the pygmy hippo enclosure. We've done the pygmy hippos, we've done the platypus. We can maybe build another thing beside the pygmy hippos outside again, or we can go completely polar opposites and we can go to the other side of the house and we can build more over there. I don't know, honestly. As I'm recording this voiceover, I really haven't decided. I hope you all enjoy. If you did enjoy this episode, or if you've enjoyed past episodes and you forgot, please hit the subscribe button. It means a lot to me. It's free, and it just helps out the channel and me a lot. So please consider that if you enjoy the content. We got lots of content to go around, lots of content coming up. I promise you won't be disappointed, or at least I hope you're not disappointed. Anyway, I hope you all enjoy the rest of the video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye guys, enjoy the rest of the video.
Da da